Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the REI Avengers. How you doing, Mike?
Good. I'm excited to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, do me a favor. Let's hit your YouTube channel up front this time because I failed in the last video.
Sure. Yeah. If you guys just look up Google Millennial Mike on Instagram or YouTube, I'll pop up.
There you go. And Dion, how are you?
Howdy, doing great. Ready for round two.
And your channel is?
You can find me here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I do live streams on Tuesday afternoons at 4 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome. And Matt, you?
Lumberjack Landlord, YouTube, Instagram, and live stream 11:30 a.m. Sunday Eastern time.
So one thing I want to talk about is we find ourselves at a very interesting moment in the housing market. And I think this is true for all four of our markets. If it's not, as always, tell me. We are in an environment without question, rates are rising, right? They hit 6.25 yesterday for owner occs. It's probably investor loans at 7 and 8, something like that. We are getting back to June peaks. And as the three of you know, I think they're going higher from here. Also, we've seen transactions crash already, 30%. Some markets like Vegas, 42%. More pain is coming. Prices, not so much. There's a couple of markets, Vegas, Brian Lebo's told us, down 7% peak to trough, 3 months in a row, 16K last month. A couple other markets down here, down there. But nationally speaking, not yet. Month on month, nationally speaking, I think we had our first price drop of 0.7%. Again, there's seasonality, folks, so don't get it twisted. We're not down year on year yet. But we're all active investors. All four of us are looking for our next deal. I think all four of us are looking aggressively for our next deal. What the hell are we doing? Rates are up. Prices are not down. Why don't we just, wait, sit on our hands and, go fishing or something for the next 2 years? Dion, why are you still looking?
So first, let's game theory with that person that does sit on their hands for the next 2 years. Let's say that they just fell for, believed in, whatever, all of the YouTube fear porn that says there's a crash coming, wait for the crash. They should be doing the same things we're doing, even though they're waiting. You continue to save because the more money you have for down payment, closing costs, immediate repairs, and reserves, the more options that open to you. They should also be looking at different strategies. In some areas, it's single family, small multifamily. In some areas, it's the BRRRR method. If you have saved up enough money to do a BRRRR method where it's your own capital and you're not worrying about refinancing out, but you would like to when it made sense to, as you save, that's step one, continue to save. Because if you're saving a down payment that's large enough for a fourplex, that might be enough to buy a duplex and do a BRRRR, or a single family and do a BRRRR, and not worry about the refinance, because no one knows what's going to happen to rates till next year. We can all guess and we can all say, this is what I would do if they go up. This is what I do if they go down. This is what I do if they stay where they're at. But we don't know. So that is a strategy. I wouldn't right now look at the BRRRR as a better option if you had to refinance.
Yeah, if you're borrowing money, no thank you.
Correct, right? Especially hard money, short-term money, anything that you're counting on, you're living on hopium, that your ARV is going to be right, that the rates aren't going to be more, that you're going to be able to refinance. So that's why I'm looking every day. It doesn't matter if I find the great deal tomorrow or in 3 months. I'm going to hunt until I find the right great deal.
Yeah. All right, Mike, you're looking at an out-of-state market. It's already naturally cheaper. So, of course, you don't care if prices haven't fall, right? Because, again, you're in Seattle and you're buying stuff cheaper. So it really doesn't matter, right?
Well, I mean, I always care what prices are doing. It'd be irresponsible to say, no, it's no big deal if they go up, down, or sideways. But the fact of the matter is that whether the market goes up, down, or sideways, there's always an opportunity to find some angle, to find a deal. It's always a great day to buy a good deal. Now, one of the things I'm taking advantage of is that there's a lot less people out there now competing. And actually, for the first-time home buyer, I have a young lady who I've been hanging out with lately. She's got access to a VA loan. Well, last year, people would have laughed her out of town if she tried to put an offer on a house around here in Seattle where I'm at. But guess what? Guess who's going to have her opportunity? We've sent her stuff off to the loan officer, who's going to get us a pre-qualification letter back, and we're going to go shopping, and we're going to ask for closing costs and 3%. She's going to get a better rate with a VA loan, no down payment. She's going to have her chance. So no matter who you are or in what market you're in, people are jumping on the sidelines because they want to wait for a price crash. that's going to invite more competition. This might be your opportunity right here, especially if the crash never ends up happening. Jump in while people are afraid. As for me investing out of state, unfortunately, what Dion talked about with the BRRRR strategy, I happened to decide to try my first 2 BRRRR strategies ever about 6 months ago, and I'm just now coming up on my seasoning period. And guess what? Interest rates ain't what they used to be.
No.
My cash flow is going to get eaten up. I'm going to be leaving a lot more money in that deal to make sure I maintain the right cash flow. Now, I'm not going to get my tan or my hide tanned too badly, but it's certainly not going to pencil out as nicely as I had planned on it. I'll be making videos exposing myself for that whenever I actually close on them. But yeah, this is probably not the time to be risky with a BRRRR strategy because we don't know what rates are going to do. Well, probably they're going to go up, but I wouldn't be working off of hopium, I think is what Dion said, hopium that it's going to stay consistent. So always a good day to buy a great deal. There's opportunities in every market. Do the work and stop being negative.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Lumberjack. Last I heard you had 3 deals. I think they were in escrow, but they might have been closed by now. So you are clearly still doing the work, adding to the portfolio. What the hell are you doing? Prices aren't falling. I don't get it.
I know. I mean, I'm passing time watching crash videos, making me feel bad about my purchases. You know, or just trying to get on Millennial Mike's list for the dating package that he offers. It's like the package. It's like dating, does your loan docs with you, goes house shopping with you.
It's a full service establishment.
Full service investor right there. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I've still got 3 deals that are in different stages. I think one of them we just closed on. And then 2 of them we've got done. I think they're going to be done at the end of the month is when we're going to close on that one. And I'm actually about to put another deal in escrow. So yeah, I mean, I guess I just haven't gotten the memo, but the way that we're just doing it is I just continue to evaluate every deal. Yeah. You know, if I listen, the other thing too is that most people that have channels are talking about this national crash and then they cite Vegas. My market isn't Vegas, so I'm okay. Yeah. And I'm buying in Vegas. And so I'm not trying to buy the falling knife. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, too, for myself, yeah, I'm evaluating the deals based on the merits of the deal. Yeah. There's still stuff coming to market, which is absolutely nuts price. Mm-hmm. And then like one popped on. I was like, that's not the worst price. I was like, I'll go to the open house on Saturday afternoon. I'll check it out. And then I've walked it and I'm not going to make an offer. I'm going to let that one season a little bit because it's not that good of a price where I would say, let's try and wrap this one up. Mm-hmm. The last one that I did, they listed it for $335 and I paid $400 for it.
Oh, wow. 65 over.
Yeah. They had 2 other offers between $440 and $450. What we were able to do was convince them that we were the ones that could close because we weren't going to be depending on, you know, some 203K or 203 loan. Mm-hmm. And so we just convinced the seller of that. And my broker just had his first chance of walking it with the appraiser. And he's like, damn, this deal's unreal. He goes, this thing's worth 7 when you're done. And you're going to put maybe $100.5 into it. He goes, you're going to have $120,000 worth of equity. But I said, but better yet, my cash flow is going to be like 32%.
Yeah.
That's
your
the
yield.
yield. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. The yield is going to be 32%. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I do the work daily. I'm not going to buy every great deal that I find, but there are deals that are getting better. They're just not.
I think there's a couple of things that I want people to realize. And again, I have the luxury of being through a couple of cycles. So what appears easy to me sometimes doesn't appear to others. And maybe I don't communicate this very well. What have all investors and frankly, homeowners, buyers wanted? We've all wanted less competition. Mm-hmm. Less competition. When you go from 100 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour, it feels so much slower. There are people that are going to create lots of content talking about the 80 mile an hour reduction. All right, that's, I don't know, depending on how you want to spin it, 400% or whatever, it's bad, right? But it's still moving forward, right? That's the key, right? Going from 100 to 20, you're still moving forward. But competition will reduce, especially as rates rise, right? As Mike kind of said, owner-occupant buyers are going to get hurt. And if I'm right, if rates go from 16.25 to 7, they're going to get hurt more. Affordability is going to go down more. We're already at record low. It's going to go lower. Bad. What will naturally happen in a slower environment is days on market are going to grow. I can't guarantee inventory is going to go up. I actually think inventory goes backwards, but days on market will grow because somewhere, somehow, someone needs to sell. And I want to be there. And here's the deal. As somebody who's creative and looking to get even more creative, I sometimes could pay their price if they'll take my terms. And then my yields can explode. Matt, you and I did the math one time on a 50-40, like a deal you did got like 21%. We just, for shits and giggles, did it through the 50-40-10 lens, and it jumped like 15 points because you had less down.
Right.
So I'm ecstatic for what's coming, but this hat's not worn because I have a bald spot. It's worn because I want you guys to freaking remember that it's do the freaking work. When the market gets slow, you don't do less work. You do more work. I don't know why people run into a slower environment and want to sit on their freaking hands. I don't get it. Work harder. Do it more. Write more offers. Only great deals. Do the work. Don't pay. You get, if you are lucky enough in Mike's lady friend, I think is what he called her off camera, lady friend. So not yet a girlfriend, but you're sleeping with her. I got it.
Whoa.
Okay. That's what a lady friend is, I think. But hey, whatever.
Hey, Mike, that is the actual definition of Netflix and chilling. That's what it actually means.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to plead the fifth on this one, fellas. She might watch this.
It's okay. We know. We understand what's going on. It's okay. It's all right. But where I was going with this is if you have a VA loan, the rules apply to you too. We're not paying list price. We're getting seller closing costs, and you're getting a rate buy down. Just because we come off the craziest seller's market ever doesn't give you a permission to use your VA loan, which thank you again for your service, of course. Go get the best deal you can. Write better offers. Write lots of, I'm flabbergasted. Somebody the other day told me I wrote 5 offers and they haven't got a deal yet. If I could physically reach through a phone and grab somebody, I would have done that. I mean, that's heartbreaking to hear that.
I think one of the mistakes that people are making is they're waiting for in MLS when they calculate the list price. They're waiting for that to be the great deal.
No!
It's not how you do it.
No.
You have to look at your numbers and say, my return, I want to be plus 20%. And so I'm going to write an offer based on 25% my return on my capital or my yield. And then I'll negotiate up, but then I have a ceiling, that level of discipline. Dion was writing a ton of offers on the deals that he was trying to put together, but he was disciplined. And then when rates rose, he went back and he said, guys, that's not the number anymore.
Sorry.
This is the number now. And that's the key. It's being able to do that, but you need to get practice. You need to get muscle memory in writing offers so you can see the P&S, so you can see the term sheets, so you can see and get used to that process. There's a reason. I mean, when I went like probably 12 or 18 months without writing an offer because there was just nothing, I was so out of practice when it came to executing that P&S. I felt like I was doing my first one. It was horrible. And so I was like, I can't believe I
P&S stands for
purchase and sales. Sorry. Yep. The purchase and sales, which is what you fill out to make your
contract.
offer. But yeah, you guys got it. It's muscle memory. You've got to be writing offers. And so if something comes out at 300 and that's only a good deal and it's a great deal at 280, well, then write the deal at 260.
Exactly.
You lose nothing for writing the deal at 260.
But let's be very clear, because some people hear us say this and then they start writing 260s on a 300 on a day one listing. Let's not be stupid.
No. Yeah, you're going to lose that every time.
You're not only going to lose that, but you're going to be branded a bad investor,
a low baller.
That's not what you want.
Which is if I do a deal with you, I know you got a great deal and I lost. Like that's the idea in a lot of these agents' heads, which is if we ever do a deal with this guy, we lost. We got a too low of a number.
Yeah, exactly. So Dion, let's go back to you and kind of remind us about all the offers you're writing. You're continuing to write them and bring us home.
So my final closing thoughts. If I was doing this on my channel and editing, I would have 2 guests. Let's talk about 2 people who have jobs and don't have a rental yet. So 2 different guys, women, that know there's a recession coming. They're both in fear, like most people should be, of a recession coming and how it's going to impact them. The first person says, I'm not going to buy a rental because there's a recession coming and I might not be able to pay the mortgage. So they have their job. The other person says, there's a recession coming. I don't want my job to be my only source of income. So they buy a great deal. Now, in a year when the recession hits, property prices might come down 20%. The first person who didn't buy because the recession was coming might not qualify for lending, might get laid off, might not be able to pay their rent that they've been paying for a year. The person with the rental has their income that could go away because of the recession, has a tenant in place who could stop paying rent because of the recession, but they have reserves. They bought a great deal, and rents tend to go up in bad times. I'm not saying which one's the right one to be. I just know which one I'd rather be.
Absolutely.
Real quick,
Mike-
can I just add something to that real quick?
Please.
What's the longest it would take in this economy to get somebody out of one of your units? Guys, 30 days, 60 days? Somebody stops paying rent, 30, 60 days, they're gone, right?
Depends on your
2
market.
weeks.
It took 14 days here in Washington.
90 days in California.
Okay, Mike,
3 weeks.
if you stop paying your mortgage, not anywhere near that.
Right,
If you
right.
stop paying your rent, you're out. So if you're renting and you lose your job and you don't have a lot of reserves, you're likely out pretty quick.
Mhm.
If you're in your house, it's going to take a minimum of a year.
Oh, at least.
A
Oh,
minimum of a year, but you have homesteading rights and all this other stuff. So you're far more safe in that scenario being a homeowner than you are being a renter.
absolutely. Bring us home, Matt. Your closing thought, then we'll go to Mike.
I mean, my closing thought is like, I think at the end of the day, you got to do the daily work. There's great deals that still come about. Just keep on doing the work. And at the end of the day, the idea, the success criteria is doing the behavior on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're one of those people like me that's metabolically challenged, I can work out, I can work out, I can work out. And at the end of the day, the composition of my body changes, the number does not.
Mm,
And so am I healthier? Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm not really seeing those real results. And so real estate's investing is a lot like that. Muscle memory, getting healthy, understanding the process, getting it down repetition wise, really understanding how your broker is performing in those situations.
Yeah.
You know, if they're constantly coming back with a defeatist answer, nope, you're not going to get it with that number. I fired a broker for that. And I was like, I'm not
Absolutely.
doing business with you anymore. You have no belief whatsoever that they might think that that's a good offer. I'm not trying to convince you. You're supposed to be trying to convince them, you dummy.
Yeah, I want to kind of close on that, talk about that for a minute. If you're like, I fired brokers for this as well. Like, you can tell me that on a first day listing, I'll listen.
Yes.
But you can't tell me that on a 50-day listing. No, that's not okay. Mike, bring us home.
I think do the work is important. So is do the math. A lot of people who stand by on the sidelines and say to themselves, if a price crash happens, maybe I'm going to make out better. I don't want to overpay for a house. Well, I encourage you to do the math on what a $500,000 house with a 3% interest rate payment was. It was like $2,500 or $2,400 versus a $400,000 house with a 6% interest rate. That's $2,500. Even though it's $100,000 cheaper for that second house because interest rates went from 3 to 6, you're actually paying more month to month. So who's really overpaying? What happens when those rates go to 7, 8, 9? Do you really think the price is going to drop from 500 to 200 to 300,000? You're hoping for a 25, 30, 40% crash in prices just to pencil out the interest rate. So do the math and figure out what works for you. Are you really overpaying when you get that good of an interest rate? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So yeah, do the work, do the math, and then come back and we'll see what you got working for you.
Yeah. So kind of rounding it out for me, it's always been about do the work into a changing environment that is going to be investor friendly, which I think is coming. Meaning we don't care. I don't care one rat's ass about what the interest rate is. I don't. It's the cost of capital. It's one variable out of a multivariable set. It appears to me that more people want to retreat and do less right when they should be doing more. And that physically hurts me as somebody who has daily discipline in his DNA. It physically hurts me when I feel people retreating right when they should be running in. When the tide goes out, people get scared, right? There was a question, I think, the other day on the channel. Hey, if prices fall, that's going to make more people afraid and prices are going to fall further. Well, maybe, but what happens to Wall Street when they jump back in or this or that? It's
Yeah.
you guys are trying to piece together excuses to do nothing, and I just don't accept it. So guys, one rental at a time, do the work. That's all we do here. Thank you so much, guys.